Joining us now is assistant to the President of the United States, senior advisor, also Deputy Communications Director and Deputy Press Secretary, Hogan Gidley, the Hoaxer live in the White House. Hogan, nice to see you.
It's great to see you, too. Thanks so much for having me on.
When you come here, unlike these other
radios,
we have premium coffee. We have your finest meats and cheeses, Hogan. If you're hungry, you can stop by. Not only that, Hogan, we have gourmet coffee, not the cheap stuff at the 7-Eleven. We got the premium stuff. So
and your own photographer.
We have Christine taking pictures here.
This is the Godzilla of talk radio. What do you expect?
Come on, man.
You've been on the show how many times? You have to know it by now.
Would you like a coffee?
A bunch. I'm
you
okay.
may work for the president, but this is the Godzilla.
I understand. and the Trump cufflinks you have going on too.
And you got Colonel Mike guest hosting.
You're the first one that noticed my Trump cufflinks.
I did.
Did you get those at the convention?
Yes.
I saw him at the convention also.
At the convention in Cleveland.
I bought a pair too.
Yeah, I got it.
This is your first time on with Colonel Mike.
Oh, nice to see
you. This is the hoaxer, Hogan Gidley. By the way,
I've heard him many times.
I got elected again, and so did my wife, as national delegates to the convention in Charlotte. So
congratulations.
Again,
great city. It's going to be a great convention, a great time.
Well, I'm also running for Virginia delegation chairman. And last time I ran for that, and I got beat by 2 votes by Ken Cuccinelli, who's now in the White House.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we're all friends now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Big kumbaya.
And you got a question yesterday in the briefing room.
Did you like my question?
It's a good question.
Yes, it was a good question.
He said it earlier this morning. He had to brag about it.
I'm sure. I believe it. Well, that's good.
Trump gave him a little shoot down there.
I thought it was a good press conference.
It was really good. I thought so too. I mean, look, anytime he gets to take that message directly out, and you, it's always a shame though in that room. So often the press tries to grandstand a little bit and build up their own resumes and extend their own contracts and that type of thing. But nonetheless, I thought it was really good. I thought there were some good questions and he answered them well. And he had a message yesterday, and it was to let the American people know that the federal government's all over this, and we've been all over this for more than a month now. And what's interesting is the press didn't even cover it. In fact, when we put up the coronavirus task force a month ago, they mocked it. They called him racist for it, said it was xenophobic, trying to keep people out of the country. And here we are, a month later, and they're saying, well, no, this isn't enough. Well, you weren't even covering it for the past month. You were too busy with this illegitimate impeachment sham. So had you been covering it, you would have known all of the things we've been doing, getting us prepared for this very moment. So this government's ready. We're locked and loaded, and we're looking forward to moving past this soon.
So let me just ask you something. The Democrats asked for between $8 and $15 billion. The president asked for under $3 billion. These questions were kind of danced at the press conference yesterday, Hogan. But why the discrepancy? I mean, $8 billion, $3 billion, that's $5 billion. That's a lot of money. What's the discrepancy?
Well, first of all, the money that the president asked for in the supplemental is what the experts told him was needed to combat this, to continue building or developing rather the vaccine, and to combat this at our airports and other places, hospitals, etc. So that's what we were told we needed: the masks and those types of things, and that's fine. And the president made the point last night: if you want to give us more money, that's fine, we'll take it. But a lot of the things in these supplementals, as you know, it's not just a clean supplemental where they're asking for money for the particular issue at hand, which is coronavirus. They're bringing up other issues in that, and they want more money for more projects. So it's a little disingenuous for the left. It's led by Chuck Schumer, of course. Shocking that he wouldn't quite tell the whole truth about what he wants this money for. But regardless, this is about making sure that the American people are safe and healthy and protected. And it's not a time to play politics. I mean, it's a warning to the Democrats out there that when lives are at stake and you're trying to contain a virus and mitigate any spreading, it's not time to play politics. It's time to focus on the task at hand. You've done enough politicking in the last 3 years with this illegitimate impeachment sham, with the Russia hoax, the Kavanaugh mess. You've done enough of that. Now let's focus in to buckle down and do some work here.
Are the Democrats weaponizing this crisis?
You hate to say that out loud, and I don't want to make that assertion here, but they've weaponized every other issue that this president has faced, trying to build up their own political coffers, putting their own selfish political desires above the needs of the American people. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. Look, it just is always interesting to me to see. For a month, we've been all over this from top to bottom, sun up to sundown, with an incredible group of folks working to make sure the American people are safe and healthy, and they ignored it. And now, they take their friends in the media that are so often complicit and compliant with their own agenda. They whip them into a frenzy for whenever they need it. Who was the Democrat who said, "Don't ever let a good crisis go to waste"? I don't remember who it was.
Rahm Emanuel.
Rahm Emanuel, yeah. So,
yes.
they know how to use the crisis for, the messaging. But regardless, we're going to win out here. The American people are going to see through that nonsense because they understand that this president has their best interests at heart, whether it be through economic trade deals, whether it be through rebuilding the military, the tax codes, all the things that he's done to make lives better. So I think they're going to see through that.
Let me ask you something, Hogan. We're with Hogan Gidley, Deputy Press Secretary, President of the United States, also Senior Advisor to the President. Hogan, let me just ask you this straight out. The President, since 2015, when he came down the escalator, has been railing about our supply chain going to China. And now we got a real issue because a lot of the stuff that we need produced, they still control because we've allowed this to happen. Now, because of the virus, things are getting stopped. How do we combat the fact that there's certain things that we need made that we can no longer make in the United States, and we're still dependent on some of the stuff from the Chinese?
Well, it's
medicines, for instance.
But it's interesting you bring that up because during the conversation where this president was the first one ever to stand up to China and say, we're not going to let you guys cheat us anymore, we're not going to let you steal intellectual property, and we're not going to let you do the things to our workers and our farmers and our ranchers and our businesses and our industries that other presidents let you do. An interesting thing happened, and I saw some analysis on this on Fox Business the other day. When we got into the tariff fight with China and we started tariffing their goods and they started giving us tens of billions of dollars that we had never seen before, as the president likes to say, they never gave us a nickel before, now they're giving us tens of billions of dollars. It forced a lot of companies across the world to look for different supply chains, to go into different countries to begin to find out where they can get the same goods without the tariffs. And they've done that to a large degree. There are a lot of companies that have left China, and you see that because their economy is in collapse right now because of the strength of the American economy and what we've been able to do. And the president doesn't want their economy to collapse. He wants to work with them, but you got to be honest with us in the process, and you have to be honest with your trading partners in the process. So it's interesting where it's a difficult situation, both diplomatic and also with economic as well. But the president has really done a good job kind of beginning to inoculate some of our issues with that and some of the issues that other companies face by getting into this tariff war with China to some degree, because they've had to find other places to get their goods, and they've done that. Now, there's still a lot of things produced in China, as you just said, and we recognize that. But, to not become dependent on China takes time. It took time for us not to become dependent on Middle Eastern oil. And now we're the largest energy producer and the largest exporter of oil in the world because of this president's policy. So, look, this is second-term talk here, but once we get through this election, the president wins re-election, I think you're going to see even more moves on that front with China.
Just to get to my question yesterday, which the president kind of answered, is how do you trust the communist government? How do you trust President Xi? I know the president's stuck. He's got to say that. But in reality, they lied about the virus at the beginning. All the consensus says that. They were not upfront or forthright with the virus when it started or how bad it was spreading. How do you trust them?
Well, that's a great question.
Well, thank you. That was my question.
I heard that. The deal is, as President of the United States, we get this question a lot. How do you trust Kim Jong-un, for example? How do you trust President Xi, for example? How do you trust these other leaders that don't have a track record of being all that trustworthy? As the President of the United States, it's incumbent upon you to try. It's incumbent upon you to try and fix some of these problems. And if you can get a nuclear North Korea to not fire off missiles and to give back remains and to ease tensions, it doesn't mean he's trustworthy all of a sudden, But it does mean you're beginning to make that type of progress. And this president builds relationships, and you've seen that with the trip to India, for example. You're seeing that with Kim Jong-un, but you're seeing it with China too, because now they understand this president means business. And when you build up the economy as strongly as he has, you can fight back on some of the nonsense they've been pulling on this country for a long time.
Hogan, that's a very good answer. That outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got to take over, but I just want to say one thing. I have to say this, then I have to go. So I was a member of the White House Correspondents Association,
right?
Because I'm a hard pass holder and a radio and talk show host, and I'm heard throughout Virginia and the Mid-Atlantic. And on the Thursday, the White House Correspondents Association kicked me out of the organization because they said that I was a senior advisor to the Trump campaign and a national Trump delegate in 2020. So they kicked me out of the organization. And my response to them was, well, that's fine. I comply by your rules. But at least I'm honest about my bias. It's like, I guess now Jim Acosta is the last broker of the truth for the White House correspondent. They kicked me out.
Well, you saw the video came out just yesterday, a day before yesterday, at ABC, where a reporter, their lead political reporter, said that they suppress stories that make the president look good and look for stories that hurt him. I mean,
and they kicked me out.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you're honest. That's the point.
Honest
Hey, this is who I am. This is what I want to be and what I want to talk about. They try to couch it, and that's the biggest problem with journalism, as I see it. I don't want to go on a rant, but I used to be a journalist. Look, if you're biased, just say you're biased. At least I know what you're talking about and where you're coming from. These folks try to parade around as the paragon of virtue. And it's dangerous to say, I have no bias, and then report the way you report. And
paragon of virtue.
You know what I mean?
The press has a place.
Shut that down, Christine. That is the best line of the day. The paragon of virtue. I'm going to steal that.
Do it.
Hogan, Gidley, they kicked me out of the WHC, but thank you for giving me my hard pass at the White House. Thank you. I got to go.